I'm Jessica, and I am a type A personality overachiever with the need to do everything perfectly. So when I knew that I was about to be a mom, I knew I had to do that perfectly. Be the perfect mom. So I made a checklist, as one does, and at the very top of the list was feed the baby. It's a very important step. And all the books I read, and I read them all, proclaim that breastfeeding creates better babies. Breastfed babies are smarter, 9 IQ points smarter. They're healthier, none of this allergic to peanut butter crap. And the best part is that breastfed babies poop don't stink. Yeah. So it was an easy decision to make to breastfeed my baby. It was an easy decision to make before I started breastfeeding. From the moment Nurse Ratchet entered my hospital room, grabbed my newborn baby's head in one hand and my boob in the other, and smashed the two together, I realized that perhaps breastfeeding is not the beautiful bonding experience between mother and child advertised in all those freaking books. My first impression was that breastfeeding sucks. It hurts. Imagine a little animal latching onto your nipple and sucking hard enough to pull out fluid that wasn't there before. And newborns eat all the freaking time, and you can't stop. Not if you want to maintain that perfect diet. So I spent a lot of nights crying, but I held on. I persisted, and I was rewarded. Actually, her poop didn't smell that bad. And after a couple months, I got used to it. I started to find it adorable how every time I'd pick up my daughter, Grace, she'd dive at my chest like a hungry velociraptor. Or how when I was nursing her, she'd kick me and punch me and snap my bra strap, and then she'd pull back with a big sigh and smile up at me like, "We're having fun, aren't we, Mom?" Yeah, so okay, maybe it wasn't the beautiful bonding experience between mother and child, but it was our bonding experience. I finally felt like I had perfected this breastfeeding thing. And then I went back to work. Yeah, I booked a gig. I'm a freelancer. I booked a 5 days on site, and I was excited to go back to work. I was excited for the grown-up time, and I was looking forward, to be honest, to not have to worry about feeding Grace all day long. Only I didn't take into account that if I was going to keep her perfect diet, I still had to feed her all day long. Only now, in order to do it, I was going to have to pump. Yeah. If I didn't already feel like a dairy cow, see these things back there? Sticking a funnel to my boob, right, and suctioning fluid into a bottle really sealed the deal. But I did it. I did it every day at lunch. There was no there was no nursing suite here. I went out to my car in the garage and pumped. Yes, I did. And I managed to eke out just enough milk that week to get Grace to daycare on Friday and know she wouldn't starve. But I ran out of time to make my own lunch, so for the first day that week, I went to the cafeteria. And that turkey panini that I ordered is kind of slimy. But what was I going to do? I ate it anyway. And then I picked up my daughter from daycare, and I nursed her into the night, and it was so much better than the stupid pump. And the next morning, I woke up feeling nauseous. And it got worse and worse, and then I puked up that panini and everything I'd eaten since. And I got a fever, and I was shaking. You know how it just hurts if someone touches you when you have a fever. But I nursed Grace all day long because I was doing it right. And then after her final feeding of the day, my fever shot up to over 103, and I called it. I went to urgent care. And I sat there for, you know how it did. They saw me right away, right? Now, I sat there for a while. And then a nurse brought me in, got me set up on a bed, and then she tried to put an IV in me, and I said, I am a breastfeeding mother. Is everything in there okay? And she said, oh yeah, it's just Zofran for the nausea and saline for the dehydration, it's fine. And I said, okay. And then she went away, and like an hour later, the doctor finally came to see me, and he starts pushing on my abdomen and saying, is this tender? Yeah, I'd thrown up everything I'd eaten. I hadn't eaten for days, and I now had 2 bags of fluid in me, so yeah, it was tender. And I said as much, and he's like, well, I think we should do a CT scan to rule out appendicitis. And I was like, dude, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure it's food poisoning. And he's like, well, we have to be sure. And I said, okay, I am a breastfeeding mother. Is everything in there okay? And he said, oh, you'll be fine. So I got the CAT scan, and I didn't have appendicitis. And they released me with a prescription and some notes from the doctor, which said, do not breastfeed for 24 hours. And I couldn't believe I was reading that right. So I called the nurse over, and I was like, And she said, oh yeah, that CT stuff is highly toxic. You can't give that to a baby. Every doctor and nurse I had seen up until this point had insisted that breastfeeding was the way to go. And now this urgent care doctor with his ridiculous theory about my appendix had essentially ruined my baby's life. I'm pretty sure he was formula fed. And the next morning, for the first time in her life, our little girl was formula fed as well. We gave Grace the bottle, and she didn't flinch. She was like, finally, Mommy's letting me have McDonald's. She was fine, and you know, it's good that she liked it because my milk supply did not recover from that 24-hour pump and dump period. But she didn't grow a tail, you know, I mean, everything was all right. The only thing that really stunk was her shit.
It's better than yours, damn right. It's better than yours, I can teach you.